Good evening. This is Stedman Fry, along with my co-host Amanda Goodman-Berry and Flex McGee, with Delta Workers Unite, the Working Class Podcast, your newest resource for news, updates, and information on the State of the Union drive and how you can get involved. We'll bring you interviews and stories from workers just like you and us who want to share happenings as they see them. We'll also be debunking the falsehoods and misconceptions about the union and giving you the tools to do the same. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you will know when we post or go live. Thank you. Hey, every folks, everyone. It's me, your co-host, Stedman Fry, here with the Working Class Podcast, Delta Workers Unite. And you can see I'm here alone. Had a bit of a scheduling conflict for this week, so I kind of just took the reins, and we're going to do something slightly different today. We have it'll be in the description, but so this is something we talked about doing and recorded this for the during the Minneapolis rally. Something we wanted to call, we're still kind of trying to figure out a name for it, but it'll be, so far we've got a ramp perspective. And what this is going to do is it'll be either pre-recorded show, or like the video today will be, or it'll be a live show. And it'll be just rampers all over the system, kind of talking. Maybe, a different group of rampers more frequently. So today we have from Minneapolis, a friend of the show and frequent contributor, Pat Gores. We have Rob and Connor, who will be on the video as well. We hope to get them on the show, the main show. But this is just something we want to do in the future to, open up the lines of communication for the employees to kind of be in a more comfortable element for themselves, for them to be able to have conversations that may be more relevant in a day-to-day sense. So you may talk about more current events or labor news in general, and not so much of the broader union drive that we discuss on the show on the typical Monday live stream. So, in future shows, if we do something like this, we'll put a post out. Hopefully we'll get it out sooner so that people can plan for it. That will say, tonight's episode will be a rap perspective episode with employees from XYZ, or if it's kind of, the three of them, or, the four of them, including myself. And actually Amanda's in the video. She comes in about halfway through it. So it is Amanda does join in the video. We'll let you know, and so that way you can kind of prepare yourself for that, because you might not have as much live interaction from any of the hosts. I will be here in the background to respond to comments and questions, but video's about 48 minutes, and Pat is basically doing a lot of the hosting in this video. He's asking the questions, and it's about how to form a committee in the workplace. So the kind of things you need to do, excuse me, to set up a committee in the workplace. And basically, how do you build that team? How do you build that chemistry? And what types of things are you looking for in order to really help the drive move forward? So we thought this would be some good information to share with the system as a whole, especially some of the downline stations who have been having some problems. We hope that you can use this information because Minneapolis has a really strong committee. They've got a really strong group of workers who are signing cards, and they're really even branching out and getting involved in other stations. So we'd like to share some of their information and their tactics with everybody because, good information is always valuable. And like I said, I'm going to try to limit my comments as much as possible because for a 48-minute video, you could really take that to 2 hours if you're interjecting more than necessary. So I'll pull their video up. I did a bit of editing to it, and I may post the video separate. I added some music and I added an intro card to it. But, I may add the video in its completeness as a separate video on the page. But so far, I'll just add it now, and then eventually I'll drop out and we'll play the video. So please enjoy.
Side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?
Who are you and how long have you worked for Delta?
Sure. My name is Rob Levine. I've been with Delta Airlines for 14 years now.
Big dog.
Yeah.
Big dog.
That's
Big
right.
dog.
All right, Connor.
I'm Connor Krennick. I've been with Delta Airlines for 9 years, and I worked for the subsidiary DGS for 2 years. Wasted 2 years at DGS before that. So
You would have been topped out.
I would be topped out by now, and it's infuriating to wake up to that every day. Yep.
All right. So why did you get involved in this drive, and what would you say your role is?
Well, this is the third union organizing drive I've been a part of at Delta. There's a guy that Connor and I both, he kind of took us under his wing and he took care of us. His name was Roger Allen. In 2015, when that drive post election took off, he came up to me and goes, there's a union meeting tonight and you're coming. And I said, why? And he goes, it's not for me, it's for your future. And that drive, I collected a few cards, talked to a few people, but really the one that we started up in 2018 and 19 is when I started going to meetings and learning a lot more. And then whenever COVID hit and that one kind of fizzled out, and got the text that we were trying to do it again, you showed up to a meeting and everyone that was kind of a leader had taken the buyout and retired, and you just kind of looked around the room and was like, well, it's time for a new generation to kind of pick it up and run with it. I mean, I collect cards at MSP, but also try to get more people involved because there's not a lot of pre-merger people left that can educate. Now it's up to more senior post-merger people to start teaching people about the benefits of having a union at Delta.
Yeah. Connor, how'd you get involved?
This guy right here. I got hired in 2015, so when that drive was going, I kind of heard a little bit about it. Management wasn't doing what they're definitely doing now, is where they're having where they're basically having anti-union meetings in training. We never got any of that back in 2015. So it was more just kind of something that I would just hear people whisper about. I think I signed a card, but that was about it. And then 2018 came around. I went to a couple meetings with you.
Yeah.
But I was still only like 3 years in. This was before the buyout, so a lot of pre-merger guys were involved. So I felt a little intimidated and was like, okay, what can I do here? And then, like Rob said, that kind of fizzled off once COVID hit. And then it was just kind of like one day, I think, Rob, you were kind of texting other unions being like, all right, does anyone want to help us get this started again? And then the rest is kind of history. Like kind of what Rob said, we showed up. A lot of the pre-merger guys had either taken the buyout and understandably are just burnt out. I mean, they had been doing this. You look at Dan and Amanda, who are a couple of our spearheads here in MSP. They've been doing this since before the merger even like went through, because they knew the union was on the line as soon as the merger was announced. And so a lot of guys either took the buyout or were just burnt out. So it was definitely time for a new generation. By then, a lot of people had taken the buyout. And so I was kind of seen as like a kind of a break room leader instead of the guy that's getting fed hoagies. I'm the guy bringing the hoagies this time. So that's just something that Raj, if you didn't know Roger Allen in MSP, he was kind of the definitive break room leader, especially like me being 24 years old, just starting being a ready reserve. Back then we had ready reserve. Now you're a new hire and you get 20, like 4 or 5 hour shifts. It's basically the same thing. And it was really taking care of your crew. There was a lot of respect and honor and pride in how you did your job and who you worked with. Mm-hmm. If there was somebody Roger didn't like, he would call it, "This guy's a friggin' pinwheel."
Yeah. Get out of here.
Get out of here. But he really set a standard that and this is something that we've talked a lot before. I think Pat even mentioned it on the podcast that he was on, is like a lot of people don't feel like we deserve much for being what they like to call what's the
unskilled labor?
Unskilled labor. Yeah, sorry, it makes me so mad that I just have to repress it every time I hear it. Yeah, because there are plenty of white collar educated people who cannot do this job. And yeah, it's okay, even though we're technically considered unskilled labor, it's okay to have pride. It's okay to demand respect. It's okay to take care of each other. And that was a standard that Raj really set for us, and that we are really trying to set for
generations to come.
Yeah, basically, because the workforce is 30 to 40% people post-COVID. I think it's even more than that now. It might be over half at this point. Yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to be all post-COVID, but you know, like with it not being that far away, a huge fraction of our coworkers are 3 years or less, and we kind of saw it as a good time to there was a lot of good things we learned from post-merger guys. But there was also a lot of stuff that we wanted to switch around or kind of change. And a lot of that had to do with the treatment of new hires, especially like even when you hearing some stories from when you started compared to, I got a little flack for being a new hire, but not as much as what it sounds like even. Yeah, I guess you should say that you were the first class. First
class at Minneapolis post-merger. So I was stepping into a Northwest station as one of 20 guys that were post-merger Delta. I just needed a job. I didn't even know that we had free flights.
Well, you were there for the vote.
Yeah, I was there for the vote. And it took a lot to be like, hey man, I'm just here to do the job. Like this, if the union vote passes, that sounds great because I need this to be a full-time job. Right at the time I was ready reserve as well, and I was seasonal. And I had grown up in a union family, so I knew the importance of that happening. And then being post-merger Delta, we were looked at as kind of like plants. Like we were there to drive in the Delta culture as they
almost scabs, and even though you didn't really have any control over it.
Mm-hmm. But the day that we lost the election, you don't see a lot of, in 2010 you don't see a lot of grown men showing that much emotion publicly, and it's still something that sticks with me today. And 14 years later, like the hopelessness, we're trying to reverse that, not just at MSP, but talking to people at other stations, hearing their stories, and trying to not just lift up the current ones, but some of those pre-merger ones, to be like, man, 2.5 years we've been grinding this out, and we're within arm's reach. So it's rebuilding the hope, and letting people know that we're more than just baggage handlers. We're the to steal a line from the company, but the company doesn't believe it. We're the backbone of the operation.
Yeah.
So
Well, especially when you tell people the amount of like commerce that goes through our hands
Mhm.
of like the freight that we ship, the mail that we ship when we have those contracts. I think of when the on the uptick back from the pandemic, when traveling was starting to spike back up, of loading 10,000, 15,000 pounds of mail alone just
yeah.
to Boston.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah, that-
granted, those are all oil change reminders, but
yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
but I mean, we handle human remains.
Yeah.
You know, we've handled a couple radioactive
Biological substances. Like these things travel through through the passenger planes,
mhm.
and like there's certain ways to take care of these things to make sure that our passengers a few feet up from that are safe, and,
Mhm.
and we're the ones doing that.
So, we can change gears here a little bit. Minneapolis is, in this drive, pretty known to have a pretty strong committee.
Mhm.
Kind of a couple questions to just play off of it, but like when we talk about a committee, what are we talking about? Why such a focus on committee building? Give me why? Like,
Well, I mean, Minneapolis. This union drive is for the ramp, cargo, and tower agents. Minneapolis has about 1,600.
Yeah, total. Yep.
One person doing that alone could maybe do 400 cards and then feel burnt out.
Yeah.
200 people or 2 people doing that alone could do 600 cards and then burnt out. Just getting to an election, you need more hands, less work. And it's not just get these cards signed, because people have questions. It's talking to people, educating people, figuring out like when to push them, when to just let them be.
Yeah.
And it's not just card signing. Like I talk to people about like, how are you doing personally?
Yeah.
Like if they're feeling down that week, you know what? You take however long you need.
Oh yeah.
Because this isn't growing a union organizing. It shouldn't be a business. It should be a passion.
Yeah.
And you don't like we could do this. We're gonna get to an election, or we're just gonna keep grinding.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do this in
It's
one way or the other.
But-
if it comes to election, or drop dead out on the rock.
Yeah.
We're doing or at least
this is we're going to be a thorn in the company's side,
Yeah.
either with the union or while we keep getting to a union.
Yeah.
But committee building, if you have 30 people out there, not just collecting cards, talking to people, like we have new hires that we need to get to know, educate, and then like you're not soliciting cards, you're not soliciting everything, you're offering them hope, a better alternative.
Yeah.
Um,
Really trying to reverse what the company paints the union as, a third party, even though it's made up. This drive is mainly rank and file people from within.
Yeah.
But it's knowing how they label us, they picture us, and trying to reverse that. And a lot of the times, probably the most important thing is the union's not even the first thing you talk about.
mhm.
It's going back to what Roger taught us. It's about respect and loving your coworker and caring about them and just getting to know them as a human. I would say probably the most important work that we did to kind of help build a committee, we did 5 years ago without even the union in our thoughts. We are going to change the culture here of one where there's a lot of squabbling. The company kind of wants us to squabble a little bit between each other.
Units versus transfer drivers versus
bag
bag room,
room.
above wing versus below wing.
Yeah.
No, it's the workforce versus the leadership that have forgotten about us.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in some current trends that we're seeing, equipment has become a dire situation for us. So there's a lot of, sorry, dude, got to take this. Sorry, but it's knowing that, for lack of a better terms, in some ways, we're all fucked, and it's trying to keep ourselves together and build that solidarity. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're not the reason why this,
Yeah.
40-year-old belt loader won't turn over in -5 degree.
Yeah, you're not the
weather. That's
reason
not,
why-
it's not your fault.
These electrical belts that say good up to 5 below are crashing and burning in 15 below.
Yeah.
Like it's not your fault. It's like we're all fucked together.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
and like, you know what? You're screwed. I'm screwed. We'll be screwed together.
Yeah.
And go from there. Like you really can build a community.
Yeah, exactly.
By realizing like this is the hand that we're dealt, but we're gonna get through it together.
Yeah, and sorry, kind of got off topic a little bit. The importance of building a committee is to kind of further build that solidarity. And I think something that's been great in MSP is for about the first year and a half, we were doing a lot of rounds. Like whenever we had a break, we would go from break room to break room. The managers would know where we were at all times, basically.
I think they had a text thread.
Yeah, they had a text thread that it's like,
That's what
I
we had
see
heard.
a G14 tug on the sea,
Yeah.
so watch out. Rob, Pat, and Connor are out. And but a nice thing about having a committee is if there's more people out in the open and public, the power of management goes down because, the more people there are to fight against management, the less power management actually
And
has.
there's more of us. than
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also it does mean that we don't have to take every ounce of free time we get to make rounds, and sometimes cards just come to us, and that's nice too.
And we can watch Jeopardy.
Yeah, we can watch Jeopardy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, that's what's most important.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
yeah. Oh, I would rip up my union card for Jeopardy.
And also, whenever it comes to finding committee members, we have meetings every Monday, and if it doesn't work, look, we'll make it work for it.
There's a spot in this drive for everybody.
We're also like Connor wouldn't be the committee member he is if it wasn't for his work ethic. Like, people think that the union protects bad workers. That's another stigma that we are trying so hard to break. Hey, you know what? I work with these guys, and they're absolute horses, and they love the union.
Yeah.
They are union organizers. They want to see this here because it's protecting all of us.
Yeah.
Because we've had instances where the great coworkers that we've had have been unjustly fired.
Mhm.
And it's just like, well, they protect this guy. Well, remember him? He no longer has a job.
Yeah.
And he should.
Yeah. Yeah. I can already think of a couple examples in the last couple months.
Yeah. So, and it's just, like I said, you figure out like their commitment level. You don't text them nonstop.
Yeah.
Start off at once a week. Just doing checkups. Hey man, I looked at your board. Looked like you got killed today. How are you and the crew doing?
Yeah.
Oh, we're defeated. Ah man, same everywhere. I feel you.
Yeah.
You just slowly build them up. You don't even tell them to start collecting cards unless they tell you they're ready.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what we were hinting at when like a lot of this work started 5 years ago without even a union in our brain. It's just, you got to be a good worker, hands down.
Yeah.
If you are a bad worker and you make other people's jobs harder, and then you start talking to people about a union,
gonna
you're
trust
done. You're not getting anywhere, man.
Yeah.
You have to help your coworkers.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you got two guys up in the bin on an inbound, they're dumping bags. You help transfers throw their bags in their cart.
Yeah.
You help bagroom hook up their carts. Or like, oh, you're pulling. It kind of drives me nuts just to see how much people will just kind of look at someone who needs help and will just walk away.
Once you ask one person to sign a card, you are now the face of the union to somebody.
Yeah.
Therefore, you have to be the best possible
A
worker.
model citizen, not just to only your coworkers, but to the company as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so kind of talked a little bit about why to build a committee. Like, let's really go through the process of like, yes, established, you guys got to be workhorses, be the studs you already are. Like, how do you go out and identify people? And how do you foster that in people either people who are like maybe passively interested or even finding that interest from other people or finding points of agitation,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Oh, I started this current drive. I started. You start with your friends. If you're the only one in the station who wants a union, and you're feeling like it's just me, I've got to get 150 people. You go find your 4 or 5 best friends, and you ask them. If you get 2 of them out of that, then you're set, and then you kind of grow from there. So when this one started up, I texted you, and I brought you along, Pat, and we went from there.
Yeah.
So you start off with your best friends. If that doesn't work, then you start off with the crew that you work with.
Yeah.
Because sometime or another during the past, not even a month, not even a week, 2 days, something happened where you're like, that's not right. Why are we cutting corners to get this plan out on time? Why am I getting called in the office because I was assigned twice and I took a delay? Like, I have 2 assignments at the same time. I'm doing one of them, double pucked, or as you call it in the biz.
Yeah. There's going to be some jargon that's not going to make sense unless you're out on the biz.
Yeah. But you find people like that. You find people who are angry, but not like the angry, like the I hate this place stinks. I love my job.
Yeah.
I love knowing that we put out a great product.
The anger that you can commiserate with and be like,
That's it.
Okay, we're angry about the same thing and we both want to do something. We're not just going to yell at somebody.
Yeah.
We're going to actually like use that anger
to motivate.
Yeah. And for me, I'm just like, okay, who's helping people out? Because then we'll see if you signed a card. And again, I'm usually a little bit weary of like just being straight up asking people.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't want to seem too pushy because that's absolutely what the company has painted us as, even though we're your co-workers.
Yeah.
As just being like pushy or whatever. But at the same time, we got about 10,000 cards that we have to have valid within 1 year to get this vote going. So
someone's getting the hard sell.
Yeah. And
sometimes other co-workers that you brought into the committee that said they have more questions, they come to one of us. That's when you do the hard sell. You just do like, this is where we're at. This is where we're going. This is what our competitors get. This is profit sharing should be a bonus. It's not. It's a catch up to bring us competitive with our competitors.
Yeah, it is really being knowledgeable, which is something that's very hard for me. Because I don't do well with very dry statistics, but they are very important. Thank you, Pat.
Baby.
That's you.
He's the numbers guy.
He's the numbers guy. But I think just through sheer repetition over the last 2.5 years, I think I can do a decent sell at this point. Yeah. Again, there's a spot in this drive for everyone. Like even looking at us personally, I started off doing a lot of card collecting, a lot of break rooms, a lot of the face-to-face talking to people. And what Rob was saying, you get burnt out, man. Like we've all had to take a couple weeks, a month even, of just like, hey man, like I'm still in this, but it's tough, man. And I can't imagine. We have a very solid committee here. Detroit also very solid committee. There are a lot of places where there is not that. So I don't know how you take on the weight of an entire
singular person going at it.
Yeah. And you take on the weight of an entire state. I don't like those are the organizers where I want to talk to and be like, how do you do it, dude? Because I have a great support system here. Yeah. And I would have completely burnt out if it was by myself years ago.
I just think about that. It's such a large undertaking, and like it is, you have to maintain your own personal health, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, whatever. And like, it's one of the things that I'm so very thankful about us being able to do. We're like, even when something in life comes up, not even that like we need to take a break just to reset, but just purely like,
hey, something fucked up kind of happened. I have to handle this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, you were our re-sign guy. of like, hey, this person, these people need to be re-signed. It's like, all right, I'm going, and
Yeah.
you'll come back with 70 cards in an
Yeah.
hour.
But to be honest, I kind of burned myself out on that, and now I'm the spreadsheets guy,
Yeah.
and I'm fine with being the spreadsheets
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Dry stats can be nice.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. So just let me listen to my horror podcasts and just let me cook. Yeah, I can do it. But
But
Yeah.
so to go back to like kind of growing people and like, people can be as engaged as they want to be. Like not everybody is going to want to do a podcast or feel comfortable for it. But you know what? There's people that can get their break room signed, and maybe they get the
Yeah.
break room next to you signed. And
Yeah.
like that's kind of also what we're talking about when we talk about committee. It's not all front facing people. It's not the people who are going to go
yeah,
speak at a rally, but they're the ones who are going to have their 10, 15, 20 people that are in their sphere that they're going to get.
that's probably the most important thing I would say is talking about it in the break rooms. Like
Yeah.
there's you can go to as many rallies, you can go to as many meetings. If you don't have people talking about it out in the open, confidently, without any fear from repercussions from management, talking about what a union can do, that is the most important thing.
Yeah.
There's been so many times where we're making rounds and we start talking about it and people start chiming in, and there's that one person who's been on the fence for a very long time, and as soon as they see 10 other people being like, oh yeah, this and this and this, and like there's even been managers that have come into the room while we're talking about it. You just keep talking about it. It's legal. It's not, you're not soliciting. It's during break time.
Yeah.
And
They're more scared of that than you should be of them.
yeah,
Because they just walked into a break room that is all on board for this union, and them walking in there didn't slow it down.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that one, be a very good worker, and two, don't be afraid to talk about it because it is your legal right. You can't solicit while you're actively working a flight or anything.
Yep.
But while you're in the break room, that is considered like kind of a safe area. And it's hard, like in the bag room, you don't really have a break room. So it is kind of, and especially if you're working the pier where, you're sitting there, but a bag could get kicked to the pier at any moment.
Makes it a workplace.
Yep, that you are officially in a workplace. So it's being smart, and it's just not being afraid, because there are some stations where you can definitely feel you talk to people and they're very for the union, but they are very afraid, understandably, of repercussions from management.
I mean, Delta has it in their handbook, the way we fly. Like they said, we will not retaliate. So, I mean, either A, they won't retaliate, or B, Delta doesn't believe their own handbook.
Yeah,
Or they do
exactly.
something illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does happen. But again, the worker to worker is the best way to build up the confidence. And when we do rounds, like, there would be a lot of people in break rooms I didn't know, but I'd find that one person and I'd talk to them at their table. Or you go into another break room and you find that lead or that break room leader and you talk to them. If they see him sign a card, they will sign a card because they trust him.
Yep.
There are break rooms where I don't know anyone, but if there's someone that I do know working next door and they trust him, I'll be like, hey, can we do this? Can we go in that break room together? They don't know me, but they know you and they trust you.
Yeah, like on those days where I would come back to the break room with 70 cards, it's because I cheated and I just went to where my friends are, or I went to where I know I have a good standing with this lead, especially on day shift. I double, I bid night shift, but I've gotten to know some leads on day shift. And honestly, just make it the easiest you can for yourself. And for me, that was getting the easy cards right away. Sorry, I took those away from a lot of people.
That's all right.
And then, and it just kind of, it does have a way of spreading itself. It's all about just talking about it and not being afraid and getting in. You can have IAM organizers standing outside giving you information or whatever, and that does help very much. But the worker to worker, rank and file, getting that information is like, hey, did you know fucking American Airlines is making $3 more than you right now, when Delta makes 50% of all total profits.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you know that we're industry leaders for one day out of the year with profit sharing? Not anymore.
not
Alaska
anymore.
is.
Yeah, thanks, Alaska. Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with because it's a pretty volatile business. I just industry.
Yeah.
I guess that's the word I'm looking for. So,
Yeah.
it's keeping up to date, and it's kind of another cheap ploy, but it's be like they have more than you. Pointing to United, pointing to Southwest, pointing to American.
Yeah.
Look at how Delta wants the public to perceive how they treat us.
Yeah.
But you look over there, they're making more than us. Hands down. If you want to talk vacation, retirement, PPT, sick time, any of that,
time.
dude,
A
we're
set-
behind in
Set
everything.
workplace rules that
Yeah.
don't change because someone in a cubicle said this was more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If and we don't even have to talk about money either. We can talk about if staffing's an issue, especially here, Minneapolis, transfers on nights get annihilated.
Yeah.
They
You
are
didn't get
getting
a lunch
flights.
that day.
Yeah.
Didn't get a lunch that day? Well, guess what? You have to seek out a manager. They have to send an email, and you got to hope and pray that they saw that email.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, or sometimes, hey, I didn't get a lunch. We'll get you lunch tomorrow. I won't be hungry tomorrow. I'm hungry right fucking now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is
Or, you
time
know what?
theft.
Pay me.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, the anger was kind of coming
Yeah,
out
I
there.
started
to
So like we
boil a
were
little
starting
bit.
to lean forward. The anger
Yeah.
was coming out a little bit. So sorry if we got off
Yeah.
topic a little bit. But
Well, okay. And on the flip side of anger, then, one of the things that I think you guys do so well and that I don't really hear spoken about when it comes to organizing and committee building is that you guys bring joy to it. Like, you two are a fun group to be in a break room with.
you a good boy.
Put her there.
Put her there.
You a good boy. You a good boy.
This kind of shit.
Yeah.
But it's give me some stories. Like, tell me about the king necklace and what, like,
So-
the ripple effects of even that.
Yeah. So in our break room, we like, again, going not to keep bringing up Raj, like he showed us how to do the job.
Stop bringing me up. I'm gonna have to haunt the place.
Yeah. he showed us how to do the job correctly. He showed us how to get to know your coworkers correctly, meet them where they're at, learn about where they're from, their background, their beliefs.
Yeah. Because we out of every job I've ever had, we've by far
Very
the
diverse.
most diverse working force
One of the
I've
ones in
ever
the
been.
world,
Yeah. You
Um,
literally get you work with every kind of person out there.
Yeah. So we want to train. We want to anytime we can train new hires and just like give them that joy in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because one, it gets repetitive. Two, once they're out of training, they're getting their ass handed to them.
Yeah, they are
For
definitely thrown to
6
the
days to
wolves.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what, we're gonna take that time to show them how to stack, show them how to separate bags, show them how to help transfer drivers, how to work safely and efficiently.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have fun doing it. So we in our break room, we try to see how many bags we can safely fit in a bin of any aircraft. And
One of my records just got broken.
Record.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hear about this later.
And like we're just trying to, you know what, you stack it this way, you can fit a lot in there. And we have a list for us, but we also have a list for every new hire. And if you set a record, we have this necklace that we found on the ground that says King.
We desanitized it though.
Yeah,
right?
it's we're clean people.
Yeah.
But
You get to wear it for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
or until the next flight.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey man, we're having fun. Is it
it might
goofy?
It might
Yeah.
sound kind of hokey. And honestly, I thought it was a little hokey when we did it. But then the next day, we had a different new hire came in. He's like, "Oh, dude, I heard about
Can
like,
I wear the King necklace?
yo, dude, can
No.
I like stack a flight so I can get my shot?" It's like, "Oh shit, this like actually like
Yeah.
was
catching on?
like received positive." I thought we were like, "Oh, dude, we're gonna like just look like the biggest lame fucking
Yeah.
guys." But
No, it's having fun. And like you get to know get to know your new hires or some workers that you never met. Like,
Yeah.
oh, are you looking at a career with Delta? Oh, this is just another job. I work here.
Yeah.
And then we just start talking about that, having fun, inviting them to play Break Room Jeopardy when it comes on.
Yeah.
And always making sure, like, you're new, you're in training. We got a busy day, but you know what? You're going to get your lunch while you can.
Yeah.
And you will not work this flight, even though the three of us or whoever we're with, we're going to be wall to wall outside.
Yeah.
While you can, we're going to make sure you get that lunch.
Or it's
that is your right.
Or it's understanding, especially with our Muslim coworkers, especially during Ramadan, especially if that falls in June, July, in the summer. It's
time to pray, man.
Yeah, you need time to pray when the sun sets at a different time every night. So when you get to break your fast, you don't want to be. It's knowing these things about your coworkers, and they will reciprocate. It's not there's it's about finding, because sometimes the joy comes from a place of sheer desperation, because sometimes it does feel like you are just getting beat down day after day after day. And
you have to find joy in that.
You have to find joy in it. Otherwise, what's the point? You're going to start bringing it home. You're just going to slowly turn into a person that you didn't want to turn into. And I'm sorry, I'm not letting Delta do that to me.
No.
I'm gonna have fun.
I don't want to see these new hires that we got to share joy with quit the job. I want to see them be successful here. They be successful better, like the work becomes easier.
Yeah.
And we can only control that for the days that we see them. And then we may not see them again because they go somewhere where they get beat down because we're not listened to about what we need.
Yeah.
We don't have the proper equipment. They're told something whenever they're hired about, we'll work with your scheduling. No, they won't.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's a business, but you can't be lying to people.
Yeah. And that's another good point, is be the person that people can come to you for and not management.
Yeah.
This guy right here gets more people coming to him for about personal problems. What do I do when this happens? What X, Y, Y, whatever.
Yeah.
More than any manager I've ever seen.
Like, sometimes, I mean, you don't have to be for people 24 hours a day, but you just got to be there for more than managers are. And that's relatively easy. On night shift, like we're so short and so busy, like our managers are out working flights.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched people walk into the break room, people who you've maybe met once, if that even, and just go like, oh, I hear you're the guy I need to talk to about this. And it's like, you establish yourself as an authority, and like, even if you don't know, you will be able to go find the answer and help them out. And you're doing manager's job for them, and that just builds so much more credibility.
Yeah, it's building trust, and it's having pride. Like, Delta doesn't want us to. They advertise our position as a stepping stone to climb the corporate ladder. They have put that in their job openings. It's like, you get in on the bottom floor so you can climb the keep climbing. Yeah, and it's okay to have pride in what we do.
Yeah.
I don't want to climb the ladder.
A couple years ago, we were essential workers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly. Yeah, what happened? Yeah.
Yeah, joy.
Yeah, man.
Hi, Amanda.
Hey, guys.
So I guess we're at 38 minutes. Might as well what do you got for one thing I think that is important that hasn't really been brought up, but just worth mentioning, is like, you will have people wash out. People that say that they're interested, don't get defeated at the first person who commits to something and then ghosts you.
Because that was me in 2018. I remember Rob being like, "Hey man, there's a union meeting tonight." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm there." And then that was me, and it's okay. Like, again, I understand, especially. I can kind of see how having a very close-knit committee can be daunting at times. But again, I will say there is a place for anybody.
Yeah.
We will find you something to do.
Yeah.
And if it's not the most glamorous thing, again, just talk about it in the break rooms. Like that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
But
People,
sorry,
no, you're
I
good.
cut
You're good.
you off.
No,
Sorry.
people wash out. You know, it's not personal. Like,
Yeah.
you're right now. We're balancing our job. We're balancing our families,
Mhm.
and we're balancing this, which is become a second job. to
Oh
us.
yeah,
100%. There's not a lot of people out there in the world that would be willing to do that.
Yeah.
But you got to find someone like Thursdays work for you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk on Thursdays.
Yeah.
You want to go around and talk to people at the union break rooms 1 hour on Tuesday? That's the hour that we get.
Yeah.
You kind of learn from, you don't want to push people too far. We're up against it a year away, or we only have a year really to meet our goal.
Yeah.
And it's a rolling year, but it's incredibly hard to balance that. But we kind of learn from our mistakes as we go. So,
yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
sweet. You want to start off, you want to get involved? Sweet. Can you get your break room? You got your break room? Go get this break room. Then we'll go do this break room. And you got to slow things down.
Yeah.
It's
You watch the eyes get a little wide.
Yeah.
so and what makes our committee so strong is the constant communication that we're in with them,
Mhm.
giving them updates. You can't make the meeting. I'm personally texting anyone who's gotten a card signed or has
Mhm.
talked to people in break rooms. Probably in the last 3 months, I'm giving them personal updates, trying to keep them motivated, because 2.5 years is a long time. And
Yeah.
to hear that we are close, like within arm's reach.
We've
of
been
getting
saying
there.
close for a year and a half.
Yeah,
you know,
because
like
we have
it's-
been close for a year and a half.
We have been,
Yeah.
but
And it's just like, look, like it's tough.
yeah.
I don't know, but just continuing to, hey man, we're almost there.
Yeah.
And that's something that that Minneapolis, like, I understand Atlanta, Detroit, smaller stations, like, people are different, but committee building is the same.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you should do what we did, but join the workplace. Start with your friends. Start with your crew. Find those common grounds with people with the qualms that they have with how Delta treats us,
Yeah.
and just go from there.
And it is hard because, like what we were saying, is like a lot of this work started years ago without ever the intention of like using it in a union drive. But it is never too late. It is never too
Yeah.
late to start respecting, loving, and caring about your coworkers.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to get that pride.
Yeah, I spend more time with you than I do my own family.
Yeah.
Like
Sorry, Olivia.
sorry, Chelsea. Like the whole Delta family. It's not the people working at the C-suites in Atlanta. It's you guys. It's the people working the ramp whenever I fly in and out on my trips that I take twice a year. Like looking down and being like, those are my people down there.
Yeah.
In the heat, in the sub-zero, the forest fire smoke they're breathing in, we're all doing it. We're all breathing
Yeah,
in.
and all
We're
the
all
Jet A
facing
that
it.
we're breathing in.
Yeah. Those are our people, and we are trying to make sure that you're going to get beat down at work with this job, but damn it, no one else put world's best employees on the side of a plane. It's time that we start being the world's best employees, Delta.
Yeah. And another thing is too, it's easy to say love everybody. You know, it's easy to be like, you're great, everybody's
No,
great.
you're good.
There's a lot of people I work with that I can't fucking stand.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you're doing it for them,
Yes.
because it's not fair if you're only doing it for a select few people and like, no, cut him out. No, I'm not doing it. That's not how this works.
No.
You a bag room guy who will just set bags down on the ground and you have to pick them up and throw them on the belt or whatever personal example you have, because everyone has it.
Yeah.
Still help them out, because that has worked in the past where you know, you're kind of butting heads with
Yeah.
somebody, but then you just kind of kill them with kindness, and it drives you nuts,
Yeah.
and it's gonna break you someday. But today's not that day.
You show that extra 5 seconds of respect
Yeah,
and attention that you give them.
they'll
that-
reciprocate.
That will change. That
Yeah.
could change an
Yeah.
entire past of bumping
Mhm.
heads.
Yep. So I understand that we can sit here and say a lot of this. My dad would say sit and sing kumbaya kind of stuff, but it's you just gotta power through it, and you're doing this for anyone who wears that vest. You are doing this for them.
Mhm. And the stronger the committees, the less we have to power through.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we will all power through it together.
yeah, exactly.
And also that means that when we win the union, that's only makes us stronger
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
Because it's also the basic point of like the union is the workforce. They
Yeah.
are the people.
Yep.
So if you have a large group of motivated people, that means you're going to have a large motivated union
Yep.
that is able to exert and
Already know how to work well with each other. Like
Yep.
we and like I said, Detroit have a very and other stations too. I know LA is killing it.
Yeah.
Have
Too many stations to name.
yeah, exactly. Like it's nice to already kind of have that team in place for when this goes through. You don't have to do any of that bullshit. You can be like, all right, what's next
Yeah.
as a team. So,
When we get to a vote, the company's gonna double back and try to persuade a lot of people that we've talked to that choice was the wrong choice. The stronger the committee that you have in these stations, you have people pushing back. We have enough people on days and nights that if once we get to this election, the company pushes in, we know that every single break room at Minneapolis is going to push back.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that in a lot of our other stations, we have that going. And in a lot of other stations, we do have that going. We get to an election and it's that month leading up to the election, Delta starts pushing back against this. No, Delta, you're not doing this. You're not going to scare us into voting no.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the next biggest thing. We get to the election, then we got to push back against Delta.
yeah, that's when the real work starts.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. So
And more
So
people
we're doing it
pushing, more
together.
people pushing back. Like you feel
you left me
You
hanging.
missed it.
Come on, give it.
There
your
we
all.
go.
but more people pushing back. Like that you think that you feel put down whenever a manager walks into that break room, you push back. Think about how bad they feel put down.
Yeah.
Knowing that they can't spout out the lies.
Well, we're at
Oh.
46 minutes, and I feel like that is.
We got time for another 50.
And we gotta be at the labor center in
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we should probably get going.
Yeah.
Cooking with gas.
Yeah. Was that okay?
Yeah.
Was
Well,
that all right?
I mean, I'll do before we wrap up though. Like, if you're in a station and you want to talk further about building your committee, you have questions, suggest whatever. Like, we can talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it does not matter where in the Delta system you are.
Yeah.
If you're on the ramp, we will help you.
yeah, like right.
Or if you're a gate agent looking to get your own drive started.
Once we
Yeah.
win, we're coming for you.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if you want to start getting working on that a little early.
Send in an email to the podcast, and we'll get you
Yeah.
hooked up with some people that can help you get that started.
Yeah.
Because you're not alone.
No.
I guess that should be the biggest thing that
Yeah.
you take
If-
away from this. You are not alone.
If you're one person in a station, no, you've got strong committees elsewhere.
yeah.
Reach out and we'll be in contact
Yeah.
with you and we'll help you build the committees and
Yeah.
because this is all of us.
Because there are still times today where I'll go to a break room and people have no idea that there's a union drive going on. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, but then you got to think, we got 1,600 people here.
Yeah.
Whether they're seasonal, whether they're transferring departments, whatever, like,
Coming back from injury.
yeah, coming back from injury, every day there's always going to be somebody new that you can educate.
All right. Well, good job, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Thanks.
bud.
Yeah, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
Cool.
All right.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amanda.
Bye, Amanda.
Hey.
So, I want to read something. It's a banner that I put up on the end of the show, and we're near the end, so I wanted to but see, that was 55 minutes, and the video is 48 minutes, and I talked for a bit at the start. But just on the bottom of this Chiron here, it says today. Oh, sorry, not this one. But it says, thank you for your time, and we hope this. I gotta change this typo here. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you for your time, and we hope this motivates you to get to or continue working. We are the movement. We drive the change we want to see. In solidarity with you all. And this is something, like I said, I try to have that on the bottom. We've got Stand with Yvette, keep the shows coming. Thanks. We appreciate that positive feedback. And again, hope that the video can be useful for everyone trying to start a committee or in the process of a committee, or maybe your committee is going through some typical ups and downs. You can see from a station like Minneapolis that's just a part of the process, and you can feel motivated to continue with your efforts and your drive. Maybe you need to take some time off. Maybe you need to switch to some other job. Maybe you need to step away. Maybe you need to back off the card collecting and do some phone banking or door knocking, or maybe you want to come on the podcast and just do this and kind of vent and voice your frustrations or your concerns, or talk about where you are and how you see things. But yeah, there were a lot of good gems in this video, and really glad to be able to post this and share it with you all. Rob, if some of you may remember him, especially on the Facebook, at the rally that happened later that day, he gave a speech that's really blown up on the Facebook. So we are looking to get him on the show sooner or later, hopefully sooner than later. And Pat's been on. We want to get Connor on because, they, as I said, at the start of it, they've got a really good energy together. They really work well together. And I think they've got just a lot of great information. Pat always has good information dealing with the numbers and the finances and the contracts, and comparing us to the other major carriers. And I guess in some ways not so major when you're looking at, Alaska and Southwest, who are significantly smaller than we are. But, this is just to try to motivate the workforce, to show that we're not alone. You're not alone. We're all in this together, and we're trying our best to organize for a union. So I don't have anything else. So I'll read the closing as I always do. And let me see. I'll try to set this up. So here we go. And I thought about playing Solidarity Forever, but I'll save it. But as always, thanks for tuning in with us. If you have questions that were not answered, or maybe a specific topic you'd like to have addressed, leave us a comment or an email. Again, the emails are going to be on the let's make sure the music isn't too loud, but the email is going to be on the YouTube page. If you go to the About section, you'll see the email there. So you can leave a comment or an email, and we'll get back to you. Also, all available links to information and materials are posted in the description. So if you want to file a grievance, not a grievance, but you want to file an interference report, or if you want to request a card, or check out the website or the Facebook, or if you want to go on the AFL-CIO Pay Watch, highest paid CEOs page, all that is in the description. Also, the Twitter and the Instagram are available in the description. Don't have any other links today. And remember, this podcast is powered by working people just like you. In solidarity, peace.